Hello, my name is Tabs, and welcome to episode 62 of the Grove podcast. I hope you're doing well and better than me. You may notice in my voice. I've just got a terrible cold this morning. I've had raging toothache, and Arsenal weren't great, so I'm not in the best of spirits. But let's see if this chap joining me on the line, who's always happy, always very in good spirits. Ian, how you doing? How's your trip to London been? And can you promise to never bring your wife to the Emirates again?
Good morning, Tabs. Yeah, I'm good. Despite the shit show yesterday. Sorry for cursing, but yeah, my wife has been banished. My wife was at our first ever Arsenal game yesterday. Really excited about it, and I thought this is going to be great. It'll be a 2-3-4-0 win. We always batter Everton, and then we did that. So yes, she has been banished. I've actually sent her home. She's actually on a flight back to Dublin right now, and I'm staying another week in London.
Very good. Other than that, the trip's been nice.
Yeah, it's been great. We've been like two tourists going around London. So and we're not flying out till late tonight. So we've kind of a day of it today as well. So yeah.
Very good, and the weather seems quite nice for it. So it's a nice sort of winter's day. So it should be nice. London's at its best.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this show, in part one, unfortunately, we will have to go over to yesterday's frustrating 0-0 draw with Everton. Rumour has it Arsenal are still playing. Everton are back in Liverpool. And we still haven't scored yet. So,
Jesus has missed a few one-on-ones. Well, one on zeros.
1-0, absolutely. And then in part two, we'll look at hopefully better days ahead when we play Crystal Palace in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. So, as we do, Ian, what was your highlight and low light of yesterday's game?
My highlight was, I think, around the 26th minute. The Everton fans started singing the Kevin Campbell song, and the Arsenal fans kind of joined in, and it was just a lovely moment. Kind of obviously with Kevin having played for both clubs, it was just a lovely moment. That was my highlight. My low light was the whole game. Probably. I'm just sitting there waiting for something to happen, and nothing happened. But I jest, but I kind of not jesting. Yeah, the whole bloody game.
I know what you mean, because I literally just wrote it before we joined because there was a bit of a rush, and I put my low light, all of it. So I think it was just yesterday was going to be like that. One of my favourite Arsenal mugs, the handle broke in the morning, so that was a good start. I said I've got this raging toothache, I've got this cold coming on, and then that game, and then just coming back, there was delays on the tube, and it was just. I had high hopes for yesterday. I think we were all in good spirits. So my highlight was actually coming to meet you and your wife in the pub before the game. That was really nice to see you, meet you face to face, have a bit of a chat, and everything was looking nice and hopeful. So and unfortunately, it didn't quite work out that way. So and we were together when the team news broke. And other than MLS, I think we were going to say this was pretty much our strongest team, or what we were hoping to be our strongest team at the beginning of this season. So we had Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, MLS, then Rice, Marino, Odegaard, and Saka, Havertz, Martinelli. So yeah, what were your thoughts when you saw that team?
Yeah, I was very, very happy with it. I was delighted that Gabriel was back. And we kind of, when we saw the starting lineups, we were all nearly adding a goal to our predictions. We were going from 2-0 to 3-0 to 4-0, and for everybody who was available, that was our strongest 11, and it was all very positive. It was it wasn't a sign of things to come, unfortunately, but yeah, I was very happy with it.
Yeah, no, I thought Kivior might play instead of MLS, because I think Miles looked a bit tired. 60 minutes against Monaco. He's still quite young. I was just thinking Everton, a big unit of a team. I know they weren't going to have much attacking threat, but I still thought maybe because we play with like three at the back, basically, with one of the fullbacks going roaming. I would have thought maybe Kivior, and he's not done anything wrong recently, might have played. So that was the only difference really. I was sort of half expecting that, but I wasn't too bothered. As I said, and Everton had no intention of offering any attacking threat at all, and that played out.
Yeah.
So maybe it was better to have a bit of a baller, someone who, a midfielder, an extra midfielder, in the ranks rather than Kivior. But maybe then in any set pieces we had, Kivior might have offered more. But anyway, much of a muchness, and that wasn't the problem as it's been the last few weeks, or when games are like this, the defense isn't the problem, and actually another clean sheet. So here we go. Let's get the positives out of the way quickly. One clean sheet. We got a point. We're no worse off than we were a week ago. So there we go. That's the positives out of the way. So in terms of the game as a whole, yeah, is it 77% possession, 1.22 expected goals to 0.09. We had 13 shots, 5 on target, 1 big chance. So the numbers were stacked in our favour, and as they have been, we just lacking that finishing touch. I know something we'll talk about that in a second. And Mikel Arteta sort of failing to capitalise on another dominant performance. I'm very disappointed not to win the game, because we fully deserved to win the game. We conceded no shot on target, no shots off target. We dominated the direct play that they wanted to generate the chaos from. No set pieces. They didn't run. We did all the right things up to the last 20 metres when we generated big situations, 3 big chances, and at the end we didn't manage to score the goals. That's the disappointment. Yeah, it sums it up. So what's your overall take on the game, and why we're failing in those final 20 meters? It is those final 20 meters. What's going wrong?
Yeah, it was incredibly frustrating. This is a very small thing, but maybe you could say with all the games we've played as well, like Everton had 10 days rest. That Liverpool game was cancelled, obviously. Maybe you could say we some tired legs, but no, because we, as we all know, we had most of the ball, we did all the running. It's just when we're getting into the final third, we just turn into, I don't know, a team that doesn't know how to score goals. We have all the creativity there. Odegaard, I just don't understand how we can go from, now of course we're playing two completely different teams. I was going to say, how do we go from creating chance after chance against Monaco 3 days ago to not being able to barely create a chance against Everton. Now, of course, Everton are fighting for their lives. Sean Dyche is their manager, so they're playing this very, very kind of low block. And we can't deal with it. And it seems anytime we come up against a team like that, we struggle to create chances. And it's really hard to to put a finger on it. Like Martinelli was playing against a 45-year-old man, in actually young. Obviously, I know he's not actually 45, but you know what I mean. He's
actually 50. So
yeah, he's actually fit. He moves like a 50-year-old. And like Martinelli, just I don't know. He should be absolutely skinning him, and he's not. I just think individuals, I know this is such a basic and reductive thing to say, are individuals who we know have high performances in them just aren't doing it. I don't know if it's the coaching, I don't know if it's just the players' lack of confidence, I don't know, but something's not right with our attackers, and it's very, very frustrating.
It did seem flat. It seemed very, very flat again. Domination's only good if you do something with it. If it's very sterile, there are teams that can have 10% and still win. So it's okay, having a domination, it's a start. It's a starting point. It's not the end. It's not the end. It's not the end result. It's a starting point. And you're right. We do something. You say we seem to be a bit flat. Things seem to be lacking confidence. What we do, there's a couple of things in terms of how we play. It relies on intensity and fast moving connections and pass and move. It's all that slow, quick, and we just seem to be slow, slow a lot of the time. And I don't know. I think you're right. I think the third game in 3 days, Everton, they had the legs to block us, to stop us, to maintain that intensity that they had going. And yeah, so I think we are managing our players and the squad, and with the injuries and so on, we're looking consistent. We're not building those connections. So when you've got those connections, when you've got those autonomous, or the automatic stuff, I can't even say the word. The quick stuff is easy because it's pass and go, pass and go, pass and go, and you got that quick movement. When everyone's being nursed and they're trying to manage themselves, if maybe one person's fit and one isn't, it just breaks down. You're looking consistent. You don't have that intensity there. It just wasn't there. And I think the other thing in terms of how we play, Arteta loves control. We know he loves control. But that then means we can be a bit robotic, and we don't have that inspirational sort of not chaos theory, but just someone to do something different, someone to go off script and things like that. It just feels like we only have one way to play, and then if we're not on our game, it's easy to defend against, as Everton showed. And sometimes we miss that. Someone has to do something. Someone has to sort of create something, and unless it's Saka, we're missing. I mean, normally then we're also reliant on Odegaard. So where do you think, what did you make of Odegaard's performance yesterday? Because it was weird. He had our best chances, but also, he looked flat. How was it him? Was it the fact Marino was getting pelters? Was it Martinelli? Where is the difference maker? What do you think's happening with those guys?
Yeah, like we know Odegaard is normally our kind of everything in terms of creativity, and it just wasn't happening for him. He had a really, really subpar performance. We rely so much on him to try and make something happen, and you can't say, look, it's Odegaard's fault. I think nearly everybody was below par. Like Havertz was non-existent as well. It has to be said. And we spoke there about Martinelli. Excuse me, and just the whole front line, like our defenders had very little to do. Of course, they were building up from the back, but there was very little that they needed to do. So you have to kind of look at our attacking players, and it wasn't just one. It was the front line, maybe Saka aside, but even Saka in his own way wasn't firing on all cylinders. It's like the players have had the flair taken out of them, like. We've seen, like, it's just so strange that, like, we go away to Sporting and we put 5 in the back of the net. Then we play Fulham at home. I can't remember if we played Fulham at home straight away, but like we play Fulham at home, Fulham away. I mean, and we draw 1-1, and then we go and put 3 away against Monaco, but it could have been 5, and then we just go back. It's like we're just every second game we get our mojo back. At the moment, is it that there's so many games and the squad isn't so big? I don't know. It's really strange.
And I'd say Champions League, maybe teams are more inclined to try and win games then. Whereas if you're Everton, the way they celebrated at the end, where their fans were 0-0 against us, they loved that. They were so over the moon with that result. They'll be really pleased because their season isn't based on how they do against us, but they'll take that point every day of the week. And they would, the way they were in front of their fans at the end of the game, it was as if they won the game. I mean, again, we said it we're on the margin, so back to that. And I think Champions League, they're more inclined to try and win games, or they're just not so defensively minded in terms of how they approach. But again, we're on the margins. Was it Arsenal versus Fulham? 2 shots on target allowed, we draw the game. Versus Atlanta, 1 shot on target, we drew. This is what we allowed. Against Inter, we had no shots on target allowed in open play, lost because of the penalty. And versus Everton, no shots on target allowed, drew. We're on those margins. When you're playing on those margins, if you don't score even that one goal or the two goals, you're going to get variance. You're going to get football stuff's not going to happen, and then we just seem to be on the receiving that. And I just think also yesterday stuff didn't fall our way. You know, the ball was bouncing around the box, just fall to one of our players. And maybe last year everything fell our way. This year it's not, and it's just the way football goes, and it's just very frustrating, very annoying that we're, because of the way we are at the moment, we are relying on stuff having to go away instead of making it happen. And I think it's a collective thing. I think you know, I think there was a lot of fine individual performances yesterday, but I think it was just very flat all around. And look, if we look at, we were talking beforehand, like looking at the first half and the key moments, as I said, we were dominant. We created chances mainly for Odegaard, but also it was another flat first half. You know, what's happened to our fast starts? You know, it was a very flat start, similar to Fulham, similar to Man United. And if we look at actually the first chance fell to Everton. Decore, big Gabriel made a great sliding challenge, but having looked at the replays this morning, it was going near post. I think Ray had it covered, so even though it was a good challenge, I don't think he was threatening the goal. And then we had three, and actually you're clock end, aren't you?
Yeah,
So yeah. So you would have had a great view of the three Odegaard challenge. So there was one where he fires over from Marino, one when he has quick feet but then drags it wide, and one when Saka did brilliantly and Pickford made a save off a deflection. From your view, were any of those really should have scored moments fairly presentable?
Yeah, they weren't absolute gimmies of chances, but like Odegaard doesn't have people might not agree with this, but Odegaard doesn't have that kind of. Sometimes, I mean, when he shoots, his shots can be quite weak. He doesn't have that kind of crispness. He doesn't get you think of, say, Nwaneri's goal where he just flings them into the top corner, but he gets. I'm not saying it's about where it goes in the goal, but just that connection, how he takes the shot. Odegaard tends to, I don't know, not scuff. It's kind of somewhere between.
He's got soft feet.
Yeah, yeah. And so when
he doesn't the word Odegaard and twatting the ball never come into the same sentence.
No, it doesn't happen. And look, he has scored some nice goals, like some balls cut across the box, and he kind of put them into a bottom corner. But I was never off the edge of my seat, or I never just I didn't expect him to score those goals. Like if I had been somebody else, maybe even Saka, you might have said right, but he just doesn't have that. I don't know, that connection with when he shoots, and so they were decent chances, but I didn't expect necessarily from him to score. Maybe when you have three, you expect him to score one, but they weren't clean cut chances either.
No. I think the last one in the 29th minute, I think he needed to lift the ball. He hit it on the ground. Look, we've been parents. We've had kids. You know, can you imagine having to have a newborn and then suddenly go and perform in front of 60,000 people and whatnot? And yeah, maybe he's just life. He's still very good, but just that that extra % or two that you need to be the very best is having a newborn and everything that brings can take it out of you. So he's still one of our best players and still someone that can create something. Still had 3 chances. Just maybe that extra little bit that makes the difference. That on a day like today, he just hasn't got it because there are bigger things at play rather than the football match. As far as he's concerned, I'm not saying he doesn't want it and he's not a professional, but sometimes a lot of the time players' outside lives do impact how they are on the pitch. So I'm not going to knock him for that. It's unfortunate for us, but again, he's got other priorities at the moment.
I wouldn't swap him for anybody in the world. It's just sometimes you get these performances.
Yeah, and it's again typical of our season. Bloody Odegaard has a baby, one just as we need him. He gets injured and then has a baby. Selfish bastard. Anyway, but joking aside. So look, another flat first half. So second half, what were you expecting? Considering what we saw in the first half, were you hopeful? Were you thinking, okay, fine, we've seen this before? flat first half. Okay, we've not expended too much energy. Get a rocket from Arteta, and away we go.
Yeah, that's. We were talking actually at halftime. People beside me, we were saying that Arteta was basically going to, as you said, put a rocket up them and have a go at them, and we'd come out firing. At no point, it was only until we got to like the kind of the 85th minute, like was I worried that we weren't going to win the game. I was fully convinced, and then we come out at the start of the second half and we have that chance, like literally straight after, almost straight after kickoff, and you think, right, okay, and the crowd, like, because the crowd was quite flat yesterday, as you can imagine, not a lot was happening in the game. So when we had that chance early in the second half, the stadium, I wouldn't say erupted, but you get that kind of wall of noise, and it was like, come on, and then like it, nothing else happened straight after that. It was just, yeah, I was expecting so much more, or I was expecting so many more chances after that Saka one, but it just never happened.
No, I agree, and maybe. Yeah, I think everyone, again, we've seen the script before and we're expecting that, and it started nicely. And actually, the first 15 minutes, it was all trending in the right direction. And like you said, okay, it'll come. And I hate games like this, but we'll get there eventually. But yeah, you're right. I was about the 80th minute. I was thinking, it's not happening, is it? It's not happening. But you always hope. But so with that, as I said, we've seen this before, but then doesn't mean it always repeats itself. So are we leaving ourselves too much to do in the second half? Are we expecting that upturn in performance, and what happens if it doesn't? Like yesterday, in fact, after the first 15 minutes, so you had that shot on the 47th minute by Saka. I mean, look, it was well saved by Pickford. On another day it goes in, another day he goes far post or near post, whatever. But then we get to the 62nd minute, and Ranieri comes on for Odegaard, and Jorginho for Rice. Yeah, I mean, Rice, I think it was indicating he might have been injured, so fair enough. But how did you feel about Ranieri and coming on for Odegaard? I mean, unless Odegaard's injured, that was a very odd substitution, if you ask me. Not the fact that he brought on Ranieri, more the fact he took off Odegaard.
Yeah, I was very surprised, and again, yeah, if it was an injury, fair enough, and I think Rice was injured, but when it comes to Odegaard, again, because we know how good he is, we've seen the little flicks that he, like some of the goals he's created recently, so it only takes Odegaard a fraction of a second to do something, so it was a bit of a surprise to see him go off. But then I know I've seen people kind of clamber for, like when Odegaard's off it, to make that change sooner, for like we seen when Yeri come on for Odegaard, but like with 10 minutes left or 5 minutes left, and people saying that should have happened sooner. So I thought, maybe not that Arteta goes around reading social media and listens to people, but I thought, okay, he's given it a go here. It's not happening for Odegaard. He's taken him off, but he's taken him off very early, but it just didn't work. It didn't happen. Ranieri was as kind of sterile as Odegaard was. Don't get me wrong, I love both of them, and they're both ballers still. But just yesterday, it didn't happen, and you have to question whether it was the correct substitution to make at the time.
Well, yeah, I think I like the idea. Yeah, bringing him early, affect the game. I think even a subpar Odegaard, like we were saying, is better than a lot of players, and he's still most creative, and he's got that connection with Saka. It was more the fact there's maybe I would have maybe liked Ranieri to come on for Marino rather. So it'll be interesting to see Odegaard and Ranieri to get together, more double creativity, one on the left, one on the right, or something like that. Because was it Everton? It was 80% possession for us, 0 expected goals, 1 shot, no shots on target. But basically, they only made, was it 66% of their passes were accurate, and stuff. So when you're having to deal with that, did we really need to have we needed more creativity on the pitch, and Marino, I like Marino. He's still got a way to go, and I can see what he offers. And maybe because of his height, and maybe because we're going to have to put balls in the mixer, but that's always difficult at Everton. it wouldn't be a reflection on his performance, but I would have liked a bit more creativity there, or did we need like all those defenders, and did Jorginho need to, could maybe have had Waneri, Merino, and Odegaard. I just felt it was a bit. This is my criticism of Arteta again, as well as his controlling, he can be quite safe, and he's very. We shall not concede. We shall not lose. But sometimes maybe he just needs to throw a bit of caution to the wind. I feel in the right way. I think we had enough to cover, Calvert-Lewin and Broja when they came on. So that was an interesting one. And then Partey came on. I think Partey, Jesus, and Trossard came on for Merino. Is it MLS and Martinelli? And in fact, I think the subs made us worse. We looked more disjointed. Our right hand side broke up. Players were peripheral. Players were no better than what was offered. I think they just fell into the trap of what we were feeling beforehand. Let alone rather than lifting the team, they just fell to the standards. You fell to the standards of the team. So at the day, so. I think the subs were necessary, but they just did not have the impact. And I think maybe I'd question a couple of the substitutions, and it's really telling that we need a goal, and Sterling yet again doesn't come on. So that's just, again, it just goes to show that our attacking options at the moment, shall we say, suboptimal for what we need and where we want to go. And there's a big debate about why and how, but at the moment, we don't have that something to make a difference, and then we were relying on a potential penalty in the 90th minute against Partey, but it wasn't a penalty. I think I thought it might have been, but no, not a penalty. And literally that was it. That was it for the second half. It was a case of one shot by Saka, a bit of endeavour, subs that made us worse, a non-penalty, game over, 1 point, and another chance goes begging. And as for our predictions, the less said, the better.
yeah, we kind of went off on them. But I just to very quickly, I fully agree with you. We could have easily have taken a defender off and kept Odegaard on the pitch and really gone for it there. Like Everton, as much as we wouldn't have scored, as you said, if we were still playing now with no Everton team there wasn't a hope that they were going to score either. I think I could have slotted in a centre back with 4 or 5 pints inside me, and I've been able to just shimmy Calvert-Lewin around and without any danger. But it was I just wanted to say we could have done that. And Sterling, I've no idea what's going on there. It's very weird that he's not getting on the pitch.
Yeah, it is bizarre. Makes that whole he promised a lot, but has so far delivered nothing. But we've not seen him, so maybe we'll see him midweek, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So look, we'll go through the player ratings pretty quickly, because there wasn't really much to say about some of them. So I'll start off with Raya. 6.5, nothing to do. He must have been so bored. That was it. Just did what he had to do. Not much else. So 6.5 for me.
Yeah, it's very hard to rate a goalkeeper who just stood there and got cold because of how poor Everton were. But yeah, you could have given him anything. But 6.5. Okay,
MLS.
MLS, I thought he did well. I mean, again, he didn't have a huge amount to do. I don't know exactly what his passing stats were, but nothing stood out. Nothing stood out for any of them. I gave him a 6.5 as well.
Yeah, 6.5 for me. Just I think for a first Premiership start, forget that's his first Premiership start. So so he did well going forward. Didn't really have much defending to do. I think that's where we have to see. At the moment, he has 2 games with not a lot of defending. Comes off after 60 odd minutes or so because he's starting to fatigue. But again, he's not the problem. Okay, so next up, Saliba. I gave a 7. Solid at the back. Marshall, Dominic Calvert-Lewin pretty well. He was a handful and he does a good job for them, but there was no danger there. Did nothing. You could see his class. A 7, but again, very little to do.
Yeah, in a similar way for Raya, it's very very hard to rate somebody who didn't do or didn't have a lot to do. So yeah, I went 7 as well.
Okay. Next up, Gabriel.
Gabriel, yeah, again very similar to Saliba. He was solid. I gave him a 7. He was trying to get the team going as well. Like he was the one. You know, he normally receives the ball and try to get us playing. Never came to anything, but I gave him a 7.
Yeah, he had that one challenge in the first half. That was quality. Did really well. He seemed to
Yeah,
be one of the only players. I don't know, really, who's like, right, I want to win this game. Like, you know, had a real desire. He was one of the only ones with a bit of intensity, a bit of drive. You know, he was sometimes even making runs down the left flank that Martinelli or Trossard should have been doing. And I was looking at, I said, oh, hang on, is that Big G? He said, what the hell is he doing there? So yeah, I gave him a 7. Yeah, but again, not a huge amount to do, but at least he was trying.
yeah.
Okay, next up, Timber.
Timber was like he was. I thought he was fairly quiet. I gave him a 6.5. We spoke about like against like could against Fulham we have put Timber on the right? He'd be more effective over there. Like he was lively, but he didn't do a huge amount. Like we talk about his link up with Saka and Odegaard. Now it wasn't just him; it was all of them together. But yeah, for me, he was just a little bit below par. I gave him a 6.5.
Yeah, me too. He tried. He's definitely better on the right than the left. But
Yeah,
I don't think he joined up with Saka and Odegaard as much in this game as he's done previously. Whether that's because Mars MLS was more prominent going forward, don't know. But yeah, it wasn't that big presence that we've seen before. So yeah, 6.5 for me. Rice, 6.5. He tried. You know, he was looking to play. He was looking to play the ball about, switch things around, try and do something a bit different. But yeah, again, a comfortable game. Not good, not bad. 6.5.
yeah. Nothing further to add. He's 6.5. He always gets a good solid performance out of Declan Rice, and yeah, not a lot to do. So yeah, 6.5.
Let's hope it isn't much of an injury, just a small twinge or whatever. So we'll see. Marino.
Marino, I gave him a 6.5. He was kind of ineffective. He didn't have a poor game, but he wasn't. I thought I was expecting a little bit more from him. It was an opportunity from as well. We got that kind of that midfield as we keep speaking about, but he was kind of quiet as well. So I gave him a 6.5.
Yeah, I gave him a 6. He was fine. Did a few good things, but then I think we're missing a bit in the second half. But then, like a lot of players, so it is a difficult one. But it was, yeah, because a lot of these things, is it the individuals, is it the system? And I think it's a bit of both. That's the system's not working sometimes, and then the players are out of form, and one begets the other and stuff like that. So it's hard to say where the fault completely lies. But yeah, for me, 6. Odegaard.
Odegaard, I gave a 6. It was a fairly subpar performance from him. It's kind of unlike him, but as you say, there could be outside influences with the new baby. Obviously, these guys are very professional, and they tend to not let that affect them. It's hard to know, but again, like when a team performs as a group so poorly, individuals obviously suffer in that. And Odegaard for me was one of those, and he was a 6.
Okay, I gave him a 6.5 just because he had our best chances. So at least he was there trying. Should have done better with them,
Yeah,
but at least he was there. Next up, Saka. I gave a 7.5. I think he was the best player on the pitch. He was trying to make stuff happen, especially in the second half. Had a lot of drive. There was one time in the second half that I saw that he was running down the wing and there was like 4 Everton players chasing him. I think it was 4 or 5. And it was just like one piece of red amongst all this blue and there was no one else around him. It's like, he just cannot be the only one. Always seems to be relying on him, and it seems to be him plus 10 other players. It was just so stood out. And I believe he walked straight down the tunnel at the end of the game, which is sort of not like him, and he must have been just so frustrated. He just thinking, come on guys, I need some help here.
Mm-hmm.
He created 3 chances. His XG plus his expected goals and expected assists was like 0.89. So on his own, he almost created that one opening for us. I think he did well in his duels and his tackles. So offensively, defensively, he stood out amongst a poor bunch. So still not his best game, but yeah, 7.5.
Yeah, I gave him a 7.5 as well. I'd love to go back, and since we started doing these player ratings, just to see what we've given him, because he's just so consistent. Whereas other top players, like say Odegaard today, have gotten lower ratings. Saka is the one that's always up there, always. And yeah, I didn't notice him heading down the tunnel straight away, but yeah. I can appreciate him being frustrated. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Martinelli.
I gave him, maybe this is a bit harsh, but I gave him a 5.5. I just thought when you're up against as we were talking about, a 99-year-old man playing at right back for he ages quicker than most does Ashley Young. But I just feel when you're up against, when you're a young Brazilian winger up against Ashley Young. Look, I know Ashley Young is very experienced, but I just thought we should have gotten so much more out of him against that particular defender. But he just kept doing his normal thing where he'd shimmy and then he'd pass the ball back. He did kind of try and go past Ashley Young a few times, but ultimately nothing came of it. I thought that was going to be a huge mismatch, but I think Ashley Young ended up getting the better of him, and I was just very disappointed by that.
Yeah, I may have given him a generous 6.5, but maybe I should retract that. Maybe more of a 6. I mean, he seemed lively, but frustrating, wasteful, predictable, safe, indecisive. So again, he was trying, but he's just no end product at the moment. So we need more from him. We need more from him, and conversation needs to be had. Yeah, it's an area for improvement, I believe, but at the moment we don't have that, so we need to get more out of him. Havertz, I gave a 6. Fine, put himself about a bit, but offered very little attacking threat. He's not a shot monster. He's not. He's good in a team that's firing, and he can offer a lot. When we saw last season. But at the moment, when things are on the margins, he needs additional support because he's not the 20, 25, 30, whatever goal a season striker. He's very good and offers a lot to this team and makes us tick in a lot of ways and so on. But yeah, he's short at the moment. Yeah, so 6.
Yeah, I gave him a 6 as well, and you're 100% right in that he's a really important cog in an Arsenal team that plays really well, but he's not the player you rely on to ping one in from 30 yards when you're 0-0 at home against Everton. He's not that kind of player, but he does so much for us generally. I love Kai Havertz, but yesterday he was subpar, but that was because again the team was so subpar. So yeah, 6 for me. Okay,
and then we come to the subs, which we'll go through quickly. So Nwaneri, I gave a 6. He only had 10 touches when he came on. He was peripheral. He fell to the level of the game rather than raised it. But then again, it's a lot to put on a 17-year-old, and there's that balance. If he's good enough, he's old enough, and whatever. But yeah, he didn't have the influence we liked. But that's partly because of the way we were going, the way the team were, and it's very hard to expect a 17-year-old to affect the way the team are when you're flat. It's fine coming in when we're doing well and he adds something to it, but yeah, we'll see. So 6 for me.
Yeah, 6. Getting nothing further to add. It's very hard to push too much upon a 17-year-old, as you said. So yeah, 6.
Okay, and then Trossard, Jorginho, and Partey, I gave 6s 4, and I'm assuming you wouldn't have got much different.
Yeah, 6. Yeah.
They did all fine, and then the final one, Jesus, I gave a 4, and that's because I saw more of him on the bench than on the pitch. He went deep, he went wondering, but then he left me wondering what's the point. I don't know what he did. So yeah, he epitomized how substitution can make you worse, not better. And I don't get it. Fine 1 week, fine. Well, average, so poor, average, poor. So there we go. That's what we're getting. What do you give Jesus?
Yeah, I gave him a 5. Like, we got more of the Fulham Jesus than we did the Monaco Jesus, and it just wasn't pretty. 5 for me.
Okay, so player of the match. I think we're going to agree on this. What did you put?
Yeah, it had to be Saka, didn't it? He was whatever chink of light there was, he gave us it, and yeah, so Saka was my man of the match.
Yeah, no, ditto. The same thing. I think we discussed it before. Plonker of the match. Who's your plonker of the match?
I've been trying to think of this, and I can't really think of one. Maybe I should give it to me for bringing my wife over to this game.
There you go.
And,
yeah, no, you're not stretching it to your plonker of the match being your wife. It's you for bringing her.
Yeah, it's me.
I like that. Yeah, one remove. That's good.
Yeah, I couldn't put her in that position. If she was here beside me, I'm in the hotel room now. She's not here. She's gone down for a cup of coffee. You'd just see a hand come across the screen and slap me. But no, I'm actually disappointed for her, because it would have been nice, like, to get a 0-0 draw as your first game is just terrible, So yeah, I'm the plonker there.
I think actually my wife experienced the same thing when I first took her back to Highbury. When I first took her to
Really?
her first game when we started going out, it was a 0-0. Yeah, there's a message there. There's a message there.
Yeah.
In terms of my plonk of the match, I didn't want to bring this up again, and I did last time. Just some of the negativity around some of the fans around me, and there's one particular, or one or two person, So when Marino and Martinelli were subbed off, he goes, "F off, you effing, see you next Tuesday." I know, it's like, okay, they may not perform brilliantly, they may have performed well, but to be that harsh and that down, and look, people do and say what they want, and they pays the money, as you said, but just have that in my ear, like, and throughout the game, it just gets me down. And it's like, really, and to be that strong, and it just annoys the hell out of me. And like, you can be down on players, you can be annoyed, you can be frustrated, but really, F off, you effing, see you next Tuesday. Gosh, well, yeah. I just too much for me. Too much for me. I get. Some people get angry. I'm not one who gets angry at football, unless it's the referee, unless it's something really egregious about the players. That's just not my style. Everyone does things differently. It's just not who I am, and so therefore they sort of like just most probably offends me more than it may be others. Others think, no, that's fine. Yeah, they deserve it. I don't think anyone deserves that, unless they play for Tottenham. But but then it goes on to the point where I feel sort of the good vibes at the Emirates are sort of rapidly fading. I think the fans have got such high expectations, and impatience is short, or patience is short, and what's happening at the moment, it's happening at a time when City are so poor. It's just, there's a lot just sort of frustrates, and it comes out in this way, and you can just hear it in the crowd and the tension. Now, if City were dominating and they were winning the league easy by 10 points, I think it'd be easier to accept, because the chance is there, and it's a bit like the Leicester City season when they won and we missed that. Are we seeing that again? So
yeah,
I don't know. How did you feel about the atmosphere?
Yeah, I agree. It was very flat and down, and a lot of empty seats as well. Well, not a lot, but more than I thought. Like, there was a period where well, it's still kind of like this, that the tickets for league games, home league games, are like gold dust, and away games. But yesterday, it was the first thing we were about 10 minutes in, and I looked up to what would be the West Stand, I think. Anyway, the opposite side, and there was just these like banks of empty seats, and I thought, wow. And there's a lot of talk before the game as well that there were lots of tickets available on the ticket exchange, and that surprised me. Maybe it's the time of year, Christmas parties, that does play a part, of course, but it just surprised me a little bit. But the atmosphere was down. There was times where all you could hear were the Everton fans. And look, we have our part to play. The team need to lift us, of course, yes, but we do have a part to play in that as well. And maybe we should be doing a little bit more.
Yeah, and look, just before we go into the Palace game, I just wanted to. Now, people might not like this, and this is me, but I just want to zoom out a little bit and say the following: Leno, Saka, Luiz, Socrates, Maitland-Niles, Torreira, Xhaka, Nelson, Ozil, Aubameyang, Lacazette. Now, that was the team that Arteta inherited, and that was his first lineup. So if you think of it, and there's been a load of criticism, and I know the socials are, you take with a pinch of salt and whatever, but you can just sort of sense it. You sense it there, but they're questioning him. And now, look, you can criticize him for now and for the game and maybe how it's been managed and his style. But if you just zoom out a little bit and look at that team he inherited and how he's changed everything, the club on and off the pitch is completely transformational. And say, sure, criticize him, but questioning whether he's any good or is he the right man to take us forward. We've also got to remember this is his first job in management, so we do have to take a bit of a hit on the learning curve. But I wouldn't swap him for anyone else. And then if you look at what Man United are doing and other clubs, it's not that easy. You don't just come in and change everything, root and branch just like that. So I just got a bit about, it's not tempering expectations, but just also just appreciate, he's taken us from that team there to just about scraping into top 4 to we are at the top table. We are challenging for the top spot, and that's where he's lifted our expectations to. So this sort of stems on from the anger bit. It's sort of like, right, forget all about that. It's just now, right? Why are you not giving me what I want now? And it's sort of like progression is not linear. Progression, there will be bumps in the road, and maybe this is a season that we have a bump, and then we go again next season. And it's not always going to be that straight line. And yes, they've set the expectations for us, but also I think we've got to appreciate sometimes where we've come from and look at that. And I can agree we can be frustrated, I can be annoyed, some will be angry, but I deliberately said I'm not going to say this word, but I will. Context. I know people hate it when I say that word, but I think sometimes we just got to take a step back. And maybe people maybe not want to hear that, and people maybe don't like that, and they don't care for that because that's gone. That was yesterday. I'm here now. I don't know. How do you feel about about that?
Yeah, like in the immortal words of "Take that," we've come a long way. We've come a long way, and you're right. See, it depends on what your relationship with Arsenal Football Club is. Are you just there because you you just want to see we all want to see the team and the club win trophies, of course we do.
Yeah.
But if that's the be all and end all for you as a fan, then in my opinion, my humble opinion, that's not the way it should be. Like, football probably isn't for you. It's all about the journey. It's about your relationship with the club off the field as well as on the field, and there's so much more to it. And as you said, it's very hard. Look at all the managers that have gone into clubs like Man United, even Chelsea, and an excellent point as well you made is that it's Arteta's first ever job. But like the likes of those guys saying those things up in the stands is just outrageous. Yes, we can all be frustrated. I left that stadium yesterday quite down because of how the match went and how toothless we were. But I'm not throwing the toys out of the pram in any way, shape or form. You do, we're still very lucky to have the players that we have, and it will click again. I think the extra kick for us at the moment is, as you said, is how Man City have dropped off. It's not us that has taken advantage. For now, it's Liverpool, who now, to be fair, are faltering. But it's just, I think there's an overall frustration. But look, guys, we just have to stick with it.
Yeah, and look, if you think it's over, that's a fair assumption to make, and I'm almost there, but not quite yet. So there's still a chance. We're 6 points behind. Okay, they've got a game in hand, but they've got to get that. So 6 points behind. They play Liverpool away. They play Spurs away next week. We play Palace away. All of a sudden, if things fall away, we're 3 points behind, and I would rather have hope than despair. And even if it's a little delusional, and a lot of people will call me delusional, we'll see what happens. But that I'd rather be in that headspace, and there we go. And look, at the beginning of the season, well, what happened to us at the beginning of this season, we know the reasons why we are where we are now. And it unfortunately means that we cannot absorb these slumps, these down periods that we're going through. And what is certain is that even if there is hope, and we want that hope to become real, we do need to fix something with this current team, because as it stands in terms of our firepower, it's not going to happen. So we have to put faith to see what happens. And until it's mathematically impossible, then there's always a chance, no matter how slim. And even if they say the hope that kills, I'd rather be happy and hopeful for the next 6 months than just be despondent and in despair. So, but again, people do what they want to do. They support in their own way. And I'm not telling people. This is more how I want to support a team. This is how I feel. And I'm not going to get, angry and kill anyone over this, and unlike those people on AFTV asking for people to be shot, but that's another story. So, but there we go. So look, let's hope next. So next comes out. I know you've got to do one quickly, Ian. So we'll make this quick. We've got Everton coming up. Crystal Palace coming up in the Carabao Cup quarter-final. What you're looking forward to, not looking forward to this Wednesday? Oh, Wednesday or Tuesday? I can't remember. Tuesday.
I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing a few goals. Like this Palace game is a bit of a weird one because, of course, now people might think I'm mad. There's a little bit, as a fan, there's a decision to make, and this going back about trophies. On one hand, you say if we beat Crystal Palace, we have 2 extra games in February. Am I right in saying that, or is it January, February?
Yeah. January, February. I think. Yeah, there's 2 legs. Yeah, hanging away. Yeah.
And you're kind of saying to yourself, do we want those? Because it'll affect our league situation. Now, if you are of the mind that the league is gone, and again, I'm the same as you. I'm not quite there. I'm close. You're saying, do you need those? So then you're saying, on one hand, do you want us to go through? And of course you do. At the core of it all, you always want to go through. But then you say, well, maybe the Carabao Cup might be a chance to get a bit of silverware. So you kind of have to take it seriously then, and just kind of deal with the 2 games that will come up. So I'm looking forward to. Do you know what? I'd never ever wish us not to win a game, but I just hope that we score a few goals, get some players back on form, and I'm not looking forward to seeing or listening to a flat ground again. Now, look, I was there yesterday myself, and I contributed, shall we say, to the flatness. Again, it's incumbent on the team to lift us, but I just hope that the crowd is a bit more lively on Tuesday. So
yeah. No, I agree. I'm looking forward to seeing if we can get a tune out of some of these fringe players. I don't think we'll. I think we're going to. We obviously want to win, and I think it is a chance. And look, we're in the quarterfinals. We need to go for it. Our league form doesn't give us the luxury to sort of can this, and we've got this far. Let's go for it. Palace at home. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the rest of the squad show up, how we can get a tune out of them. I don't think we're going to play our first team, and I'm not looking forward to the crowd reaction if the result doesn't go away. More of that. That just sort of stuff. Look, again, just not looking forward to that negativity around it, which is understandable. And it would be if we did lose. But there we go. So in terms of the lineup and in terms of what I said, fringe players, I reckon MLS, Waneri, Kivior, Jorginho, Sterling, Jesus. I'd imagine they all start. I think Calafiori rumoured to be fit for this game. But then it's about balancing those other players. Do we bring Nichols and Heaven in, so more youth, or do we have Timber playing, or Partey, or well, no, most probably not Rice. I think Marino plays. So it's just, I think for the team, it's about balancing the injuries and the squad that we have now with the youth, because I think if we're going to play, just win the game, and we'll worry about the 2 legs in the future, especially if we finish top 8 in the Champions League. As for Crystal Palace, will they go for it? Or they provide a lift to their season. I mean, they've actually had some good results recently. They've only was it lost once in the last seven, and that was all at home to Fulham. But they've beaten Tottenham. They drew 1-1 with Newcastle, and they've drawn 2-2 with Man City. So from their initial start from the season, they've sort of picked up. I reckon it'll be a more open game because it's a cup game. It'll finish on the night, so it'll go to pens if need be. And in terms of their top players, again, Mateta, will he start or will he start Nketiah? Eze, will he start? So they could go for it because they need to lift their season, or they could do what we do and rotate. Rotate. I mean, Wharton is out, Joe Ward is out, and a couple of others. And in terms of Nketiah, if he starts, he's not exactly pulling up any trees there. I think he's played twice in the League Cup, scored one, and he's had about 518 minutes in 10 games for Palace in the league. So he's not starting. He's hardly getting off the bench. So typical Nketiah hat trick incoming. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the game, and what are your prediction?
Yeah, I think, I don't think, should I say, they won't be quite licking their lips, Crystal Palace, but they might fancy this because of our last couple of league games, the performances that we've put in. They have a bit more firepower than the likes of Everton, so they could cause us some trouble, potentially. But again, it's a game we should win. I think I have a feeling he'll go strong. Arteta, I think he'll want to get the good vibes back into the stadium. He'll want to just get a win, a domestic win under the belt, and I wouldn't be surprised if he will sprinkle some youth and some fringe players in there. But I think probably 75% of the team will be near our first team. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hope we go and kind of make a little bit of a statement.
Yeah, and what do you reckon we'll win?
I'm going to go. See, we have to be very careful of our predictions now. I'm going to say I'm going to go 2-0. I'm going to go 2-0.
2-0. Okay, 2-0. Yeah, the one thing is I don't think they can defend like Everton, and I don't think it's going to be that sort of game. I think they'll want to keep it tight, and then you go for it with 20 minutes to go. It's very typical of a team of that ilk coming to the Emirates in a cup game. Maybe try and snatch something, but I don't think they can keep us out. If we can find our shooting boots, I think we'll win. I'm putting us down for a 2-1. I think just because of it's going to be a bit of a random team, but I think we should take it 2-1. Maybe even 1-1 go to penalties and see what happens. That could be a bit of fun.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so on that note, marching to Wembley in the Carabao Cup. Look, these aren't the easiest to do. Everyone's a bit down, a bit out, a bit pessimistic. So I do appreciate you taking the time to talk to me whilst out on your travels in London. You can forget about the Arsenal. Have a lovely day in London town. In London town. I'm going to go and feel sorry for myself on the sofa, drinking Lemsip all day. So, Ian, where can people find you? And I'm not talking about in London, but on social media.
Yeah, I'll give my location. You can find me on all the social media platforms at ArsCannonPicks.
Very good. And you can find the Grove AFC on Threads and Blue Sky. Next show, we'll do post Palace whenever I can figure out when the game is, and we'll preview Palace at the weekend. So it'll be all Palace. Yeah. So again, thank you, Ian.
No problem at all, Tabs. It's always great to come on. As I always say, this is like our church. It's therapy for us. So we've gotten quite a bit off our chest now.
We did indeed. Right, that's it for now. Until the next time, come on, you Gunners.